Hello everyone, welcome back to the FLL Mind Builders YouTube channel. Today, I decided to change my mind for the topic of this video, since in the last video I only talked about frames, but today I am going to be showing you how to build a simple attachment and teaching you about torque and speed of different gear systems. So, let's get started. So, as I said before, I'm going to be teaching you about torque and speed. So, the main definition for torque in a gear system is strength. And as you saw in the last video, we showed you a couple of frames and in which some of the arms used a lot of torque. So I'll show you one frame that from ours on the City Shaper season that does use quite a bit of torque. So here is the frame I wanted to talk to you about. This is mission 1 of our frames last year. So hold on. Just gotta show you. So what is really torque? And as I said before, it's the strength of the gear system. So I'll show you a couple of gear systems. So see this arm right here? This arm was used to pick up a structure. Pick it up. You need a lot of strength and a lot of speed to do that. So this is a gear system that uses a lot of torque. And torque is mainly used with a small gear is meshed with the bigger gear. So it's like a small gear to bigger gear. Ratios are also very important when it comes to gear systems. So I'll show you. See this? Hold on, I just gotta show you. So as you can see, this gear system right here, small gear to big gear. This is a half gear. I like to call them half gears, and this is around a 36 tooth gear. The pointers, the spiky parts on the side are called teeth. It's a 36 tooth gear. And over here, we like to call them flower gears. These are flower gears supporting the torque gear system right here. So that is what an example of torque. And as we see on the bottom, there's even more torque right here. Smaller gear to bigger gear. Same gear system as the one right here. It's just in a different position, just to make sure that the frame is a lot sturdier. And over here, again, we show another example of torque. And always, it's very important to not just have one gearbox. You also need some support for your gear system sometimes. So we use this arm quite a bit in our missions. And this is run by what I call a 56 tooth gear. All these teeth on the outside. Run by just an 8 tooth gear. So that means it's a 56 tooth gear to an 8 tooth gear. So 56 to 8 is 7 to 1. So these gears mesh, and you might want to put at least 2 8 to 8 gears because 8 tooth gears are not very strong. But if you still want to use them, you should try 2, just like how it's done right around there. Just like that. And over here, we have a gear system again. So a bigger half gear, but with a smaller half gear. They just mesh. And all of these gear systems are connected to the bottom. And in your frame, you have gears that you connect to for different attachments. These are the gears, flower gears. We don't have to use, so you can use any gears, but I recommend flower gears that we use for each to connect our attachments to our frames. Now I'm going to show you how the gear system in our frame is actually implemented in a real run. So guys, the program starts off with the robot moving from home base and pushing the stack into the red circle. Then uses the gear system with its torque, as I said before, to pick up the traffic jam. It uses a 56 tooth gear meshed with the 8 gears. Then it moves forward, follows the black line, and hits with that passive attachment and from the blue side to the gray side. Then, using torque of the stronger and bigger arm with the support of the arm that we used in traffic jam, picking up the pink structure. Then, with that same arm for traffic jam, knocking over the swing and knocking over beams under the white structure, knocking over 4 beams in different ways. We knocked over these beams by pushing the white structure down first, by changing the gears, and then knocking over the beams later. I'm going to show you how to build your first attachment. So you're going to need some squares, but I have H's as well. You can use H's too. It's just I like to make things more compact. You're going to first start out with this square. you're going to take a longer longer axle. And you see how this is black and this one's white? Well, the white axles, they are gray. They mean that it's an odd number. So this would be around a 7-sized axle. This would be around a 10-sized axle. That's right. There, as I said before, odds and evens. So you're gonna start off with your square. Take a bushing. So there are two types of bushings. There's this bushing, and then there's the yellow one that you have right here. So you're gonna take the gray one right here. So the gray one, and then you're gonna just push it in at the bottom, just like that. And it's gonna go through just a little bit. And I want you to put in the gray bushing at the top. So you're gonna push up the gray one. Make sure there's not much left there. I also would like you could use so you could use this gear system. There's a gear called a half gear. I call it the half gear. It's a small version of what I call a half gear. I don't know how many teeth there really are in this one, but I know that it's just called our team calls it half gear, but I know that's not the actual name in the kit. And so that's what it would look like. That's your first step. And as I said before, I saw in the comments that many people really wanted like a kit. Like, where'd you find the link for the kit? So basically the link for the kit's actually in the first video. It's at the end of the video, end of the first one. It'll give you a link and a description as well. So now going back to our building, after that, it looks like that, you're going to put this this 20-tooth gear at the bottom. So you're just gonna put it in the 20-tooth gear, just at the bottom, just like that. That's how it's gonna look like for the first or the second step. And then you're gonna take what I call a 36-tooth gear. And you're gonna have to memorize some of these gears. Memorizing would also really, really help. And you can take any size axle, just making sure it's not super, super big. And through the side peg hole right around here, you're just gonna push in that axle. Just make sure it's big enough for the gear to fit in. Actually, I would prefer that you first put in the gear. Make sure that it meshes up, starts to mesh up. So when it's finished meshing, you already see that the gears are starting to move with each other. Then you're just gonna push in the axle from there. Your hands will be sweaty by the end of this video because it's a lot of work to do this. You're gonna push this in, and then that's it. You see that the gears are moving now, right? Yeah, it's really, really cool. Now if I push the bottom, see how the gears move without any noise. Yeah, that's a really cool part, but we're not even done with our attachment because we're actually gonna make an arm with this gear system. We have to make one more gear system, and I'll show you how to do it. So guys, in the first part of our attachment, we have built this. So I showed you how it moves. This. Now we're going to create our second part. So I already have a square here with pegs on each side. So you're gonna put it in just like this, pegs on opposite sides, and then you're going to need two bushings, or I call them bushings, so or supporters you may call them. An axle of your choice and size, an angular or J-beam, and two flower gears. The color doesn't matter with the gears. No. Now, you're gonna take your square. You're gonna start off with the axle. Put the flower gear through. It doesn't matter on the color, as I said before. Once you've put the flower gear through, just like that, you're gonna take the bushing and you're gonna push the bushing in again. It's gonna look like that at the end. First part of your second part of the attachment. Then you're gonna through the square, you're just gonna push in this. Just like that. You're gonna take your second bushing and you're going to just put it put it up under right here. So that's how it's gonna look like. You might want to push the axle through on this one because it may get a little weirder, and that's how it's supposed to look like in the end. So then you're going to take your second flower. Actually, do not take your second flower gear yet. You're going to put these two together. Now, it may seem really, really weird how to put them. Just push them through. Your axle goes through, and but before that happens, you have to align your flower gear on here with the specific bud. So then you're just gonna push it in. Oh, hold on. Sometimes it doesn't always. Yeah, once you actually push it in, just like that. But keep the axle out. Make sure it doesn't go through this hole yet. Then you're gonna use your flower gear, put it through the specific bud. Once you've put it through the hole, make sure the axle is aligned properly. You're just gonna push the axle in, leaving space for the gear system. Now that gear is attached. Now if we move this, you can see that the flower gears are moving as well, which is really, really cool. Then I want you to try something out. I want you to try and move this bottom gear to the yellow space, the yellow axle that I have right here. Or for you, it may be the other part of the other axle. Once you've done that, you're gonna take your angler or J-beam. You're just gonna put through the axle hole, and let me show you a little closer. And through the axle hole, you're just gonna push it in. Oh, make sure not to push it all the way, just like that, and just like this. Make sure your bushings go in properly as well. But now, if we clearly look at it, you see that when I push the gear on on the other axle side, look, isn't that really, really cool? Let me push it show you a little closer. Look, if I turn this gear, it moves back and forth. You know, it's like an uppercut. You see, like the arm up, uppercut like that. Pew, pew, pew. You know, it's just a really cool attachment. It can also be a lever. So I'll show you how it could be a lever. So you can push it up, leave it up, and then drop down, and it pushes a lever. And that's just one really, really cool part about this gear system. And that would be your first attachment. So guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the FLL Mind Builders YouTube channel. And make sure to stay tuned for our next episode, which is going to be about a complex robot. And I'm not changing anything else. But stay tuned, and if you would like to see if you wanna get notified for any other videos, just click that notification bell below. See you guys later.